Hello, everyone. This is Jake Rapoport. As you can see here, this is my PLN screencast, going through a list of tools that I've started to put together over the last year or so that I've been in the program. It's a work in progress because, as I said, this is all new to me. So trying to figure out what I like, what I don't like, what tools and people are useful has been interesting because there's a lot of stuff out there that sounds interesting but isn't actually, useful. So I guess the first place to go is I'm big on Twitter in general. I believe it's as good of an information gathering system as we have right now. Obviously, you have to follow the right people and know the conversations you're getting into, but when you do it right, there's simply nothing better. So yeah, my first thought was to look at some Twitter accounts that I've come to like a little bit, and obviously you have to wade through a lot of stuff you don't like, but the first one is Getting Smart. Obviously have a lot of followers. And they tweet a fair amount, as you can see 4 times in the last hour. Just a lot of interesting different ways of expanding your teaching, style and technology and just ways of improving and thinking about teaching. And there's a lot of interesting stuff here. Not all of it is technology, but there's enough in there that is useful, such as social media, involving social media in teaching and all sorts of other stuff. I've come to like it. Another one, actually, I'll go to this one first, which I recently discovered. I just started following him. This is Richard Byrne. He operates a couple websites for ed tech, and the focus is on free tools. And obviously, with all sorts of budget issues across teaching, having free, useful tools is amazingly important. He blogs about all sorts of different things. You can see with links to his blog, and there's some personal stuff in here that you end up probably not caring about, but there's all sorts of interesting ed tech ideas, and he's pretty active as well. There's also the easiest way to do it in reality is to get involved with hashtags. Hashtags have become really a source of jokes, a source of making jokes on Twitter, but there is a lot of functionality in there. As you can see, you can look for hashtag ed tech, and anything that has the hashtag ed tech, people, you're basically just joining a conversation. And this really, I think, is my favorite way to do it. You obviously have to actually search for it, so you can't follow anyone, but there's just so much here that you can check it out, once or twice a day, once a week, whatever it is, just scroll through, and there's so much here. And also, obviously, it shows you users, and a couple of these I actually like a lot, so we'll get to those in a minute. As far as a community, I learned about this in my system tech class, and I've found it just, very useful. It goes along with this website, which is Chrome Toolbox. I'm a big Chrome believer. They have a lot of free tools, and the problem is they're all out there, and they're a little hard to find. So this site, as you can see, lets people review them. There's all sorts of it. You can do a search box for any tool. They just updated it, so you can see all the different tools that are out there that are Chrome extensions you install right into your browser. Like I actually have, ad blocker. I have stay focused. There's all sorts of, push bullet, which I've come to like a lot for sharing between your phone and your computer. And you have people review it, and they have a community built in on Google Plus, which is definitely the best use of Google Plus that I've seen so far, because it never really caught on amongst the population. But you can see people talk about the various tools they use. They post different things. This is the owner of it. He does a great job. He himself reviews things. He reviews extensions, posts articles. You probably don't need to go there every day just because it's not updated that much, but there's still plenty to like here. Some of the other sites that I like to use, EdTech Magazine, which is the focus on K through 12. What I like is that it's very professional, and they have all sorts of different topics, so like in different categories. So you can find reviews, you can find management, classroom, hardware. They cover a lot of different angles, which I like. EdSurge was the first one my advisor recommended I look at it when I first joined the program, and obviously there was a reason. It's the huge name in technology. There's all the same idea. There's all sorts of articles and everything that just you would find useful in being in this industry. So here's one that I check probably once. I try, like I said, I open it once a week, but they don't update a lot, but they do. When they do, they're pretty useful. You get all sorts of reviews, and in reality, these reviews are in general pretty useful because there's so many tools out there, and everyone's trying to get a piece of the market that you have no idea what's good or not. And reading a lot and being up to date on this stuff helps you find out the best tools for you. Here's one that I also like a lot. It's called Technology Tidbits. Again, it's just going through various tools, and if you don't know what's out there, you might be missing out on something that is particularly useful. Here's the little thing that I've actually come to realize is that, again, you have to be wary of the people that you're following. This blog at first blush looks pretty interesting, but then you start to see that there's just a lot of comments and articles about Microsoft, and that should raise some red flags. Not to say Microsoft versus anything else is better or worse, but you never know what the angle of this guy is. If it works for Microsoft, whatever it is. So you kind of have to be careful about what's out there. This is a list of, also these are a list of 23 influential Twitter users in EdTech, and most of these don't even mention technology. So be careful what's out there. But there are a couple pieces in here people in here that I do follow that I found interesting, but you again have to just be very careful. So yeah, as I said, I've probably gone a little too long, but as I said, you got to be careful what you're looking for. There's a lot of good stuff out there, and as long as you find the right people and keep up to date, it can make you, better learner, better teacher, better ed tech personality, and that's about it. Thanks for listening.